people want to be heard, but they don't feel like they have permission to be heard. And sometimes when you invite that conversation, it's shocking what people will say. If I was going to be interviewed, how would I feel? What would I want to be asked if my child just got murdered? Or if I just won the lottery? Or if I am running for office? Or if someone's accusing me of something? I mean, I always say, how would I feel? You don't have to have a title to lead. You can lead exactly from where you are. Just lead from where you are. And know that you're worthy to lead. You can lead. Yeah. And to be who you want to be, you have to imagine your life different than it ever was. You have to let go of, if you want to change, then you have to be open to that. And you absolutely do. You have to just let go, and you have to understand that there has to be room. Store up the treasure where your heart is. Store up the treasure there. That's your treasure. It's not in all these things and goods. They fade away, they break down. Store your treasure where your heart is. And that's where you're worthy.
Today, my guest is Sheri Jones. Sheri is the highly esteemed news anchor for WLNS TV 6 in Lansing, who has built an impressive career spanning over 35 years. Her outstanding contributions to broadcasting have earned her a well-deserved place in the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame, the Michigan Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, and the Silver Circle of the Michigan chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Her commitment to excellence has also garnered her Emmy nominations and accolades from the Associated Press and the Michigan Association of Broadcasting. Beyond her professional achievements, Sheri is a global citizen with a heart for service. She has ventured to places like Japan, China, and Africa, leading teams that developed international relations, economic development, and Habitat for Humanity homes on behalf of the City of Lansing and the State of Michigan. Sheri has championed vital causes such as the opioid crisis, mental health, gun safety, and sex trafficking through her role at the news station, and has substantially increased the success rate of capturing many of the area's most wanted fugitives through her role as spokesperson for Mid-Michigan Crime Stoppers. Sheri Jones is not just a news anchor, she is a dedicated journalist, a global ambassador, and a compassionate advocate, leaving an indelible mark on both the field of journalism and the communities she serves. She is a philanthropist and advocate, a wildly compassionate and giving soul, and a whirlwind of talent and infectious energy. Hop in the passenger seat with us as we take an exciting ride with Sheri Jones, right here on Soulgasm with Polo Rio Tate. I want to welcome you to the Soulgasm podcast, Sheri Jones.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here, and I love the name. We talked about it.
We did talk about it before, spoiler alert, before I ever bought the domain. Boom.
Yeah.
This is the angel that gave me permission and celebration and absolute support, and she's in our name.
Support, absolutely. Angel, we might want to talk about that.
I'll watch out for the bolt of lightning, but I'm pretty sure you've got some angel DNA in you.
And when you first told me, I was like, you have to do it. You have to do it. Because that's what, it's making your soul just come alive and feeling like it's the ultimate nirvana, as I like to say. So it's perfect. Perfect.
How beautiful, and what a beautiful segue into what this podcast is all about, what this show is all about. And it's really how to live an all-in, all-win life. And to truly do what lights you up, to follow the energy of what your heart and soul is calling you to do. And you exemplify that so beautifully in so many ways. And I can't wait to talk about it.
I know, me either.
And full disclosure for all of you who are just joining us, we are actually in the Ariel's Transportation Museum, sitting in the backseat of a 1954 Oldsmobile Super 88 convertible.
This car is gorgeous. This car has got white walls that are like 4 inches wide all the way me around in its red interior. It's spectacular.
This car,
It's amazing.
I cannot believe people stayed awake at the wheel. If I was in the back seat during a road trip, this is more comfortable than my mattress.
Seriously, this red leather, I wish they made cars like this again, and a bench seat. I know. Don't you love it? I love it. It's gorgeous. I walked in and I said, we get to do the interview in here? Wow.
Why not?
It's got energy all in its own.
It absolutely does. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this show here when I was in town on location is not only that automotive pioneer Ransom Eli Olds is my great-great-grandfather.
Right.
But also the energy and sort of the kinetic inspiration and spirit of ingenuity is imbued in every single one of these movies.
It truly is. And you feel it. You do. I can't think of a better place for you to do this. I really don't. As your bloodline is in here and you just look around and see the historicness of this whole place and luxury. Wow.
And so we thought we'd just pull over at this gas station.
I know, right?
And get ready for the rest of our wild ride, Sheri.
Just go. Let's go.
In the spirit of how to live an all-in life, whatever that means to you. My first question always to you, and this is, it's so yummy, especially to have this conversation with you, but what is your passion? What really lights you up?
And I love that question. And I think it evolves over time. But for me, it is truly the servant heart. My servant heart lights me up. Me being able to serve other people, to validate other people, to lift up other people, to empower other people, giving away that of which is myself to someone and having them realize that everyone's born worthy, but sometimes you have to have someone encourage you to feel that way when you don't. And so that's something that I always try to do, is to spend more time when you come in contact with someone to, ask them a lot of questions, have them talk about themselves, hear them say things about themselves. So they say, that is me. And that I guess I feel, and I want them always to feel better after spending time with me or talking to me, and they walk away with like a really positive feeling. So that lights me up. That truly lights me up.
What a beautiful, beautiful encapsulation of something that has, my guess, is grown with you over time. Just like what you were saying in terms of, we do have different stages of our life, and there are different things that sort of call to us, and there are different energies that we follow that lights us up. That, I would imagine, is sort of ingrained and inextricably linked in your DNA. And I wonder if maybe that's been, what did you used to play as a child? I know this is a random question.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
When you get lost in the imagination, your imaginary world as a child, what did you play?
We spent a lot of time outside. So a lot of creative games outside. And when it would rain, my mom always would let us go run outside in just a t-shirt. That's it.
Yes, you would really the Pooh.
Yeah, all the way. You know what I mean? I mean, she'd be like, "Okay, girls, go."
You and your sister.
Oh yeah, as long as there wasn't like thunder and lightning, But and we would make mud pies. We would play kitchen. We would be in the fort. We would be. I used to braid snake grass. So very, creative in nature more. So nature is truly my grounding. I have to have nature. When I feel like the frenetic energy of my life as it is, I have to go out in nature. I have to walk in nature. I have to stand on terra firma. I have to smell the grass, hear the birds, see the sky, look at the water, and then I'm calm.
This is something that I deeply admire about you, because you have such a connection to nature, and you know that. You're aware enough to know that it brings you back to center.
Always.
And that's a beautiful thing, because I have been honored to witness and experience your deep compassion, your incredible empathy, and your really fine-tuned intuition and an ability to tap into the energy of a situation. And my question to you is, having been a really well-respected, revered, highly acclaimed journalist and broadcast journalist for now 35 years.
I know.
Which you must have started when you were 2 years old.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I usually say 10.
About 10 years old.
But no.
How do you reconcile the violence and the trauma and the difficult situations upon which you report every single day? How do you reconcile that in this beautiful big heart?
That's a very tough, heavy question. And because it's difficult. It's difficult. It's overwhelming. Some days it feels very, very, very heavy. And, I grew up 15 minutes from Lake Michigan. So there have been times when I've said, I just have to drive to the water. I just have to go to the water. But I can't do that every day. So I make sure that as I read these stories and proofread them, because I proofread everything that comes across my desk, that I take time in that moment to emote, to pray for the families that are going through what they're going through, maybe to cry, because there's been some really heinous things that have happened in my time in this industry, and that you don't even want to repeat. So I spend a lot of time in quiet at my desk, processing before I have to go out and say this while other people are having dinner or watching on their phones, or but it takes a lot. But after a while, you just have to allow yourself that time and space to go back in nature, to reset, to understand. Another thing that I do, when things come in, I deal with them, and then I just let them go. I don't hold on to things, because if I hold, then it really gets deep. I'm too much of an empath, and they'll settle right in. So I let them stay with me and then go. But I worked on unsolved homicide some 16, 18 years. Now those I hold on to. So when there is a conviction and the parents have some justice, that's a celebration. But the day-to-day, I just kind of let come in and let go.
That takes tremendous awareness and, I would say, intuitive agility. And an incredible grasp of being present. And it's something that I've seen you wield just masterfully. It's a masterclass. I believe, just in my own humble opinion, I believe you've coined a different level of journalism with what you report and the ethical side of journalism. Not only broadcast journalism, but true, the first people to write history. I think
yes, that's exactly right. We are the first. When history's happening, we're documenting it, right? Exactly.
And you take this so seriously, to heart. The integrity with which you have navigated your career is stellar.
Thank you.
And the integrity with which you've navigated friendships and being in this community is remarkable. It's one of your superpowers, and I think why people feel so safe sharing their heart with you immediately, sharing their life with you incredibly, in-depthly. And I believe you've coined a sort of a new style of journalism, maybe like a holistic journalism, in terms of really thinking about your own personal integrity, what you can and cannot live with, disclosing, and for your station as well, and then the other people involved, and then the community at large. You have a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah, I know, right? And you're absolutely right. To break those down in that way is so true. And I always feel like if someone is going to pour their heart, I like to say crack open their heart to you, you have to be present, and you have to validate with your eyes, with your nonverbals. You have to listen. And you can go in with what you think you want to talk about, but when you listen, it can go in a completely different way. And anyone that works with me knows I want to be right and not first. Right now, there's such pressure to be first. Twitter and Instagram and our Facebook page, but to me, I want to be right. I don't want to go out there and say this happened and then have to go back and correct it. I would rather patiently wait and be right. And maybe the other people will rush and be wrong. So that's something that's steadfast. And that I think lends itself to 35 years because that's the way I've always done it.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I know that you've had, just from talking about it after the fact, I know you've had access to information that is a scoop, if you will, or whatever you want to say. And you've held on to it until it is completely fact checked, validated, all of those ethical journalism steps that you feel good doing before you release that information. And it's palpable when anybody talks to you, just in terms of just being your friend.
Thank you.
It's really one of
That's so nice. When I do try to tell, like, I've had a journalist come to me and I said, where's the other side of this? And she's like, well, I called them, but they didn't call me back. And I said, no, we can't run this story like it is. You have to, if it takes you 2 days, it's going to take you 2 days. You need to get this other very pertinent side. You can't just say all this and say, well, they didn't call me back. And it was a hard lesson for that young lady to learn, but she waited 2 days and she had the story and it was right and it aired. And that's the right thing to do. Yeah, it was a big lesson.
It's a big lesson, and it's also, I mean, these are big topics, especially with the pressure, like you were saying, of technology being what it is, production value being as low as it is, that people can reach across the world in 2 seconds via Twitter, via social media, via anything.
Right.
So now you've got like sort of this panther or cheetah or leopard or whatever, cheetah right over here, like chasing you, right? With to be first and to
yeah, it's pressure, really big pressure. But one of the questions I always ask, and you do this very well, you're an amazing interviewer. You are. That's why this Soulgasm is just going to go. It's going to go on fire. It is. But I always ask people, how does your heart feel? How does your heart feel? As a prompt to a question. And they can say, my heart is breaking, or my heart is wide open, flying with joy. I mean, there's always a really good answer in there. And that's just a connection point, right?
This is the connection point of the lifeblood that makes us human, right? This is the humanity, the humanness that you so brilliantly elicit and evoke from a story. Because ultimately you're reporting people's lives.
Oh, yes. And I have a really easy time flipping the paradigm around. If I was going to be interviewed, how would I feel? What would I want to be asked if my child just got murdered? Or if I just won the lottery? Or if I am running for office? Or if someone's accusing me of something? I mean, I always say, how would I feel? Yesterday, I was at Michigan State and I was doing a chef's competition. It was so fun. And one of the judges we were talking, and she has the same wedding date as my son. And so I was like, okay, so what about this? What about this? And she's like, oh my gosh, no one's asked me that before. And I'll tell you what, is this why you're good at your job? And I said, I don't know. This is just me. I was just curious. And I think if we as humans are more curious about the people that are our friends, our family, our neighbors, our community, our world, you feel so much more full as a human being if you're curious. And you should learn something every day. Every day you should learn something.
Oh, I totally agree. You should learn something every day. I am such a huge nerd for that. And
Me too.
And I think that I'm positive that speaks to the longevity of your career, but it speaks to your generous spirit. It's a byproduct of your generous spirit and your open heart.
Thank you.
And I always think in the back of my mind, in my own little nerdy brain, like curiosity is the antidote to anxiety.
Oh, it is. I love that, Polo. That is beautiful. It's true.
It soothes our nervous system. It gets us out of our own head, because all of those self-conscious things that we do, it prevents us from connecting. It makes us hunker down, even like cleaving under our ideology of what we're seeing now in terms of political fights and
it's tough. It's so tough, but it doesn't. And information is power. Knowledge is power. And so the more I know a lot about. I know a little about a lot of things. I'm not always an expert in everything, but when you read and you can talk about, maybe.
Continue.
But, because of what I do, you're learning all the time. You're learning how other people think. And it's really good because people can, and the way that, of course, the algorithms of Facebook and everything, they just feed you what you want to read or what you want to see. They don't necessarily challenge you. And so it's very important that you read other things. So you talk to other people to better understand the humanity of all of us, and traveling. I mean, our trip to Africa for Habitat for Humanity and me taking my 16-year-old daughter there, it was life-changing for her. She became a different person after that experience. And I see that now even reflected in her wanting to be a nurse, wanting to help others, having compassion for those less fortunate, knowing that material things don't make you happy. Like, it's those life lessons that really, and especially at 16, to see something like that, travel and being in different cultures it's a gift. And I encourage travel so much.
Travel. And when you were talking about getting the other side of things, we're fed a live feed from social media
all the time,
right? And to encourage people to really look at things from a different perspective and seek that information. I heard somebody talk about, especially after the pandemic, and how we all sort of are now allowed to get myopic with our technology and go down the rabbit hole of social media feeds. I heard them talk about how necessary it is to have that human feedback loop. So at some point during the day, at some point in your exploration, seeking out human contact, like kinetic, palpable, human contact.
I know. And it seems like a no-brainer. But people don't do that. I'm very isolated. Everyone is very isolated. They can have 30 conversations on their phone, but to do this, or pick up the phone and actually talk to someone and not text. People will text conversations over multiple minutes when you could really just pick up the phone.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Picking up the phone? What is that?
No. But hearing your voice, a human voice, it can change your whole day. Just hearing someone's voice. And truly having that back and forth of a real-time actual reaction and response to something that this seems so I know. But it's why I just want to tell everybody, when we go for a walk, it goes from an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours, and then we're we gotta go. But it's the energy that you feed off of each other as human beings. Yeah.
We need it.
But Brianna, my daughter listens to podcasts all the time. But so hearing this podcast and someone saying, wow, I guess I didn't think about it that way, or I need to, when they're going about their life's days, it's important to have. I think podcasts are amazing, and I think they encourage people to really think about life differently.
Here's hoping. Here's hoping. No, that's true though. And especially with the information that we have at our fingertips now, how brilliant to be able to open your computer, open your phone, and literally learn. Learn from people all over the world.
All the time. One of my friends who was on Athena International with me, and she told me to go on this website and find your 3 words. It's called Your 3 Words, or I'm not sure. I did it a few years ago. But you answer all these questions. And mine came back lighting the way. And I started crying.
Those are your 3 words?
Lighting the way. Because I'm oh, yeah. Yes. Just because everyone can volunteer. It takes a special person to lead, to be a light to others. It's your light to others. I'm a light. I want to be a light. So when it was validated, when it came back, lighting the way, and then people randomly, I get these little things that say light in my life now that I did that, and it's really empowering. You're on the right track. That's how I feel. I'm on the right track.
This is so brilliant, and this is so beautiful, and this is actually, I think, the number one reason why I wanted to do this show, to have guests, light bearers like yourself, who are understanding of the fact that you are made of light, and you have that life force energy. Your pilot light is fire, girl. It is fire. And truly, like, you are made of light, and if we have the courage to follow that, meaning if we have the courage to whatever stokes the embers of that fire, whether it is nature, whether it is celebrating other people, whether it is giving them a safe space to express themselves and to tell their story, like, you have to follow that. And I think so often we don't give ourselves permission to, or we're scared.
And I had a story about someone whose friend opened up to them about a sexual assault that had happened, and they felt comfortable sharing it. That person didn't know what to do with it, did not know, and just kind of let it, just didn't know. And my heart broke, because that person trusted enough to say something. This person didn't even have the tools, or couldn't even say, I'm really sorry that you've had to go through that, or I think you and I talked about that. And how do you, so you have to just validate the person, what can I do in the space that's right now? Because that's all we have is now. That's all we have is now. And we have to feel that life force, that life energy that each one of us has.
It's so fascinating that we need reminders of how to be human. And really, it comes from a place of fear, probably not wanting to say the wrong thing.
Right.
Not wanting to alienate the person. Right. Or not wanting to mess things up. And at the same time, through any sort of barrage of fear, we hold ourselves back.
Yes.
Doing what we could do in every moment, which is, I am here. I have even if you're like, I have no idea what that would feel like, but I cannot even imagine. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Right. That's it. That's just as simple as it can be, but to at least give some comfort to that person. People just want, I really believe we just don't have enough love in the world. We just don't have enough love. I agree. We could just love each other. I have this incredible picture in my house. Mark Mahaffey did it. I saw it at the Lansing Art Gallery, and it is in a train station, and it's red. And you see an African-American man and woman. He's in a suit, and she is in a red coat and a red hat. And it kind of has a jagged line through it. Next to them is a white couple in a suit, and then she's in a red coat and a red hat. And it says 1,000 times in Mark's own handwriting, same red coat, same red blood, same red coat, same red blood. And I saw that hanging in the Lansing Art Gallery. I know. I started bawling. And I said, yes, 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 yes. And if we looked at the world like that, think about it. Think about peace in the world if we all understood that we all bleed red. It is the most powerful thing. And he gave that to me. He gave that print to me. It's a cherished, beautiful thing. And people come into my house and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, let me tell you. I'd love to share this with you. Because that truly is how I see people. Same red blood, same red blood. And if you looked at people like that, if you looked at humanity like that, there are no differences. Everyone should feel love. Everyone should feel love.
This brings up something so incredibly beautiful, because same red coat, same red blood. We are far more similar than we are different.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When we come from that space, when we put our emphasis, when we sit the seat of our soul, the seat of our presence in that knowing, right, then it allows us to celebrate the differences in people immediately and walk around with this compassionate heart like a beacon, and you start to realize we are all connected. Not only are we all connected, we all come from the same source. We're made of the same raw material, and that is that light, that is that love of which you speak. Like, this is why
Preach.
This is why you are a light bearer, because you know that.
Yes.
And you see it, and you celebrate the shiznit out of it.
Yes. And I work in an industry where people are so different and unique and bring so much of themselves because we're creative. And we have people that look all different, but yet we are all the same. And they tease me like doctors and people coming in, saying hi or whatever. Can I ask you a question? Can I bother you with this? Yes, you can, but it's not a bother. But yes, come in, sit down. Let me help you. And if you look in the world right now and you look and see what the problems are, if people thought like that, there would be no problems.
I could not agree more. It is the real contagion.
It is.
It is the real.
It is
truly what spreads like wildfire most. Is because the minute you see someone, really see them, the minute they're seen, the minute you come from a place of that universal love that connects us all, the minute they feel respected, the minute they feel safe in our humanity, the minute the world cracks open and the rest of life disappears and we're able to sit in this space of oneness.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
I feel like at the heart of what you do, and let's just be real here for a second. You were a revered inductee into the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
An absolutely highly respected inductee into the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. I mean, for the love of God, you have Emmy nominations under your belt. You have accolades from the Associated Press. You have the national. I mean, for the love of God, we're talking. Let me just tell the audience what an amazing and highly accoladed journalist and broadcast journalist we have sitting right here. And at the basis of this is your deep seeking, from my perspective, of that connection.
Yeah.
And that celebration.
Yes.
So my question to you is, if you couldn't be a journalist, if you couldn't express it through that vocation, what else would you do? Barring no, location, money, nothing matters, but just what else, how else would you express that deep seeking connection and celebration and storytelling?
Wow. Polo. Wow. I've never forgotten where I came from. I'm a small town girl. I've always been connected to my community because my parents were connected to their community and my grandparents were connected to their community. The fire chief for 31 years, my grandfather. So like, you are connected to your community. You understand philanthropy. So that's where I get the most filled up. And what Mother Teresa said, it's not, you don't have to go out and change the world. You just have to make the corner of your own world better. Just a small corner of your own world. So I know that I would be in philanthropy, or I would be doing something philanthropic. Just, it's funny because I don't do things for the awards. I just do things because I look in the community and see we have an opioid epidemic. I see we have a mental health crisis. I see we have gun violence. And so I think of these initiatives and galvanize the people that we work with, and then do this, and then put it on TV and have WGN take it and make it their own. Take it and make it their own, and then get a national award. Well, but it's because in the corner of my own little world, I look and see how are people hurting. So I know that I don't really know what label I would put to that as far as career, but I would try to see how can I make my community better? Where are people hurting? how are people hungry? Are people, and then I would just lead, because you don't have to have a title to lead. You can lead exactly from where you are. Just lead from where you are. And know that you're worthy to lead. You can lead. Yeah.
Lead from where you are.
Right. Lead from where you are. I always tell people, look in your school, look in your church, look in your community. Look, just look around. What I asked Elfrieda Schmidt, for those of you that don't know, 97 years old, just passed away, still creating change in their community, still fundraising for this monument at this. And I said, Elfrieda, how do you know? How do you know what next project you're going to do? 97. She said, I don't know. I just look around and say, that needs to be done and that needs to be done. And I just do it. So she leads from where she's not a city council person anymore. She just leads where, and people want to volunteer. They just don't know how to do it. Yeah.
They want to volunteer. They don't know how to do it, and they don't know where to place their energy or how to get started. It's that, and now, it's a paralysis sort of until somebody steps up. And you're so right. You can lead from where you are. You don't have to be a political figure. You don't have to be. We are all leaders of our own life. So expressing that for a need that you simply glimpse by looking around you. This is why your servant heart is fulfilled. I have literally, I've seen you after working all day and all night, having the only meal that she had access to during the day. I have seen you literally mid first bite, set down your fork and take the stage to triage a situation at an event. I mean, if that is not commitment to serving your community and the situation at hand, I don't know what is.
Well,
so I always joke with you that you have like 15 full-time jobs with all of your initiatives and all of your volunteer work. And now I understand, and for all of those who have had the honor and the pleasure of witnessing Sheri and being there, now I understand that your servant heart is what fulfills you. And it energizes you.
Yes. And I can remember, thank you. And I can remember during the pandemic, I couldn't do, there were no events, there were no people, there was such disconnection. And they called me, the city of Lansing called and said, we're doing a parade for veterans, but it was Veterans Day in November. But it's going to be outside, and they're just going to drive by get in their car and drive by through this, and then they'll stop and we'll hand them different things, because there's a lot of services for veterans. Would you come out and would you just wave at them? And I said, sure. They said, just a half an hour, Sheri, just a half an hour. Just please come on. So I'm like, so I'm out there. I'm in like red because it's, veterans. So I got a red cape on.
Same red coat.
Same red coat, baby. Red is the same red car. I shouldn't have wore pink. I should have wore something. Anyway, so I'm out there and it's 9 below. It's 9 degrees. It's freezing. It's windy. It's snowing. And these veterans are in their cars and it's all around. We did it down in the South End. And I stood outside 2.5 hours. Because they would roll down their window, Sheri, oh my gosh, I'm going to call my wife. Hold on, I'll be right back. And then they would drive and they'd bring their wife back because we were all starved for the human connection. But I realized that I was the one that was starved too. And I got home and I was in a great mood. And I was like, Rocco said, where have you been? I'm like, I stood outside in 9-degree weather for 2.5 hours, but I saw 300 veterans and I feel so good. And I realized that is what I was missing. That is what COVID took away from me, is to be able to have that. And that to me, that's worth $1 million. And it really is to me. That in that moment, because all we have is now. And I tell people that, and you believe it, and I believe it, that's all we have. And you have to be present. You have to embrace. You have to. Because you don't know, number one, you never know what someone else is going through. You don't know what the other person needs. And maybe that's just what they needed. Maybe they were in a much darker place that you could ever imagine. But a smile, a contact, And I do this in the grocery store. When I go through the line and the checking person is like this, how you doing? Great. I will go, how are you? Are you having a good day? Thank you for doing, I will force them to have eye contact. And they're like, actually, I'm having a tough day. I said, well, when are you out? Well, I got 3 more hours. Okay. Well, we're having an interaction. Make it an interaction. Make it an interaction.
I heard somebody say yesterday, be where your feet are.
Oh, wow.
Be where your feet are.
Wow. Okay, now I've never heard it said like that. Have you?
Nor had I.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, and then I cranked myself up.
Oh my God.
I was like,
I've never heard that.
how beautiful is that?
It's true. Because our head and our brain is all that's why you have to start your day with some kind of meditation. You have to start your day being present, being here in the now. You have to have quiet in the morning. And then you have to say, okay, I'm open to the day. What is the day? I'm open to the day. Let the day come. You might have a plan. It might not go like that. And that's okay.
It rarely does.
It rarely does. It rarely does. It rarely does.
It rarely does.
Be where your feet are. Yeah.
Be where your feet are.
Can I steal that too?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Yes. Spread that worldwide because it's really true. All we have is now. And if all we have is now, that's the gift of this present moment, right? The past doesn't exist anymore.
No.
The future hasn't happened yet. That cliche is cliche for a reason.
It is.
Because all we have is this moment.
Right. But people don't live like that. No, they're worried. I'm so worried. What are you worried? Well, I got this thing and okay, well, make a list, check it out, get it out of your mind. But people get so caught up or in the past, living in the past that they can't change. You just have to reconcile within yourself and then you have to let it go because you're missing out on what's to come in. And that's, you helped me with that. You said, you gotta get rid of this to make room for what is coming in. And I shared that with my daughter and it made a huge difference in her life. You do. You have to let go. So new energy, new light, there has to be room for it. And then it can come in. And it does. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. If you make room for something, it will come in. Just like what you were saying in terms of like cracking your heart open. Oh, yeah. Heartbreak does that.
It does.
It's really, people don't break your heart. People, places, things, they don't break your heart. Kyle's beautiful wisdom. They break your expectations.
Yes.
And when we feel that shattered heart, ooh, that's where the magic is, because all of those old patterns, all of what you don't need anymore are being cracked open so that new energy, new opportunity, new abundance, new ideas and creativity and inspiration can just flow to you and through you.
Yeah.
It's the magic.
Yes. And to be who you want to be, you have to imagine your life different than it ever was. You have to let go of, if you want to change, then you have to be open to that. And you absolutely do. You have to just let go and you have to understand that there has to be room. And it's just so true. They don't break your heart, they break your expectation. And we have, as humans, have very high expectations for the people in our lives.
We do, and we usually base our expectations on what has happened in the past, which of course just keeps us sort of entrained into that. And we have to break exactly what you said. You have to be who you want to be. You have to be the ideal version of your super self in order to usher that in. And for lack of a better term, I love thinking about it as like your future self, your super self, your ideal self. We already are that. It's usually a matter of just shedding and cracking that facade and letting it fall away. Is that exactly what you're saying in terms of letting it go and then letting that ideal person emerge.
And I'm going to give you a visual that will completely encapsulate that. And I saw it after COVID. So imagine yourself walking with like armor on. Okay, but it's kind of like a long coat of armor, but it has like scales. Like, can you see it? It's like, and so during COVID, because we changed so much, we shed a lot of things. We maybe shed some relationships. We shed some feelings or some expectations or whatever, because lots of things changed. And so if you see yourself walking and all these things falling off, they said once you emerge from that, don't go back and pick those up. Don't pick them up. You've let them go, either your job, the way that you work, maybe friends and family, maybe relationships, maybe health habits. Don't go back to the way that was. If they've fallen off you, because relationships, some people come into your life, they stay, you have your experience, and then they go. Let them go. Let them go. Just like there's a Tagore, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it's like the meeting of the waves and the seagulls. They meet and they depart, and that's life. That's life. People come in, you have your experience, and then you go. You have your things, you let them go. Don't pick them back up. Go on to be new. Every day should be a renewal. Every day, the only person you want to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Yourself. Not anybody else. You should never want to be better than anyone. Just yourself. Better than the human you were yesterday. Don't pick that stuff up. Be renewed every day. Thank God that you have today, now, where your feet are, and go forth and be and experience the world. I know that's a lot, but that's how I feel deeply, deeply.
This deep, amazing wisdom you have given to me in moments where a relationship has ended or something like that.
Oh,
and
yes.
you have sternly encouraged me and
Yes.
invited me not to go back and pick up the pieces. And it made me think, the first time you told me this, it bubbled up this sort of understanding that the gift of each one of our interactions and the gift of our connection is that it does forever change us. We are indelibly, beautifully changed by that experience.
Yes.
Let it change you, and then let yourself be the cumulative nature of all of those experiences.
Yes.
Without needing to recreate something that isn't relevant anymore.
No.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Take the good, take the change, and change is good. Different paradigm shifts in your mind, who you are because of that relationship. Learn, grow. There are no mistakes. It's just learning. Don't worry about making a mistake. Just learn. And then go forth. And so you're right. You are 100% right.
Take the wisdom and leave the rest. Take the wisdom and leave the rest. Like, there is no failure. There's simply feedback from life. I mean, all of these colloquial sayings that we have are for a reason. It's trying to explain the friggin' what the hell we're doing here
Every day. Right? And I know that I do listen. And I think people spent, whatever they say, God gave you one mouth and two ears. Like, spend more time listening than talking, and understand that you can learn so much about everything. But the most important thing is humans. And I do listen to heartbreak and hope and all these things that make the next interview that much better, and the next interview that much better, or the next interaction that much better. Because people just want to be heard and loved. Heard and loved. Even in your own family. And we were on a cruise once, and my dad was at this end, and my mom was at this end, and my sister was there, and her kids, and we were all together. And it was Thanksgiving time, and I said, okay, everybody, we're going to go around this table, and we're going to share something. Not just a gratitude, just something about why you love this family. Well, you're on a cruise ship, right? And there's people all over, and it started down the way, and it's like the whole place just faded away into nothingness, and it was just our table, and we're talking and crying and sharing, and these kids were pouring out themselves, but it's giving permission for that. People want to be heard, but they don't feel like they have permission to be heard. And sometimes when you invite that conversation, it's shocking what people will say. We did it at Christmas time once with my husband's family, and this future daughter-in-law that had come into the family was like, I never thought I would be married, and I'm 40, and now I got married, and now I'm going to have a baby, and I was like, I didn't know that. So just hearing, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. And
the appreciation game is my favorite game ever. When anybody is sitting around a table,
you do the same thing? Of course.
Because what if all of what we do during the day, all of what we do for a career, all of the things that we think we do, what if it is in service of that?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Doesn't it allow you to just exhale?
Yeah.
If the really what we're doing here is to connect, then it allows you to release a worry.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Release the logistics of making something work out. Allows you to release your attachment to the outcome of things
Right.
that over which you have no control.
No, zero. And that's the thing. You only can control what you can control, and you cannot control someone's reaction to what you do or say or you want to. Perfectionism is all part of that control. And, well, this is the way I do it, or I like it, or why doesn't that person do? And that perfectionism is something I have to work on all the time. And to say all I can do is control myself, I can't. It's a thing. It's a thing.
I would imagine being a public figure as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no situation. Straight line. Yeah, you asked my friends about that. One time we went out and we had done a big charity event, and it was kind of a charity event, murder mystery thing. And they're like, "Let's go out. Come on, Jones, let's go out." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to go out." So they said, "Keep the wig on and let's go out." And I said, "You guys," and they're like, "Keep the wig on." So I kept the wig on, and we went out to a local dance bar here in town. And they had like different levels and bars and the whole nine, you can only imagine. And someone came in from my work. He saw my husband there and said, "Where's Sheri? Is Sheri here?" He goes, "Yeah, she's here." "Well, where is she?" "She's up there." And they're like, "Where?" And he goes, "Right there." And she's like, "Oh, I had a wig look just like your hair." It was dark. I had big glasses on.
Sorry, I just figured out the wardrobe for our next interview. Anyway.
It was liberating. It was liberating. I mean, I didn't do anything off the hook or anything.
Sure. Wait.
That's for Miami.
I'm going to hold you tonight.
Oh, yeah. I can remember one time we were in the Detroit area and we had been at Joe Louis Arena and it was raining and we had to jump on that people mover and we were, oh my gosh, it was a disaster. And we're on this people mover and I'm talking and this man at the end goes, "Hey, anybody tell you sound like Sheri Jones?" And I go, "Oh, I get that all the time," because I didn't want to admit. I mean, here I am. Oh, it's just brutal. So yes, there is pressure in that. There is pressure in that too. But you know, people say, "Well, I don't want to bother you at the grocery store. I don't want to. Can I say hi?" Of course, say hi. Of course, tell me. You know, I don't mind that at all. Then I know they're watching, or that they have been watching for so long. And one lady said, "I love your laugh. You know, can I take a picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's." You know, people love to take pictures. And one time I was going into like, I don't know, it was like the Walgreens or something. I was with Bree and I'm like, "Bree, can I put on lipstick?" And she's like, "Oh, mother, we're going into Walgreens. What do you have to put lipstick on for?" We walk in there. I think I took 3 or 4 pictures. And she's like, "Forgive me. Forgive me." I'm like, "We've been shopping all day, you know, when you're just done."
I do. I do. I know. So thankfully the whole perfection thing is up.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. But those are the things. They're real. They're real. They're real.
They're real, and it must be, you know, that sense of liberation to be able to go out without a magnifying glass. It's a special thing.
Yeah, it is. Like, in this a trusted space, you know, a trusted friend, but I am very authentic. I am very authentic. This is me. I always say, I joke, I'm the girl from Ravenna. You know, I've never lost that. I've never saw myself bigger than what I am. It's just a job. We all just have different jobs. That's it. We have different roles and means. But again, we all bleed red. So we had a quiz once at TV6. It was a current events quiz. And the last question is, what is the name of our cleaning person? And do you know that I was the only person that got that right? And we We still communicate. He's in Africa. He moved back. But what no one knew, he was getting a double PhD in economics to go back and teach at the University of Kenya. His name is Francis. And, but that's me. You know, my dad always taught me, you talk to the CEO and the janitor the same way. And I've always lived like that. So I am, you know, the perfectionism, yes. And I do always I am my brand. Right. That's the thing. People, you are your brand. And you're your brand. Every human being. Our brand. Yes. Not necessarily. You are. Absolutely. You have your work brand, your personal brand. And people need to focus on their personal brand. Yeah. Because the hats change. Right?
Absolutely. And it allows you to navigate. I don't know if you feel this way, but whenever you sort of align that inner self with your outer self, and you clear sort of that chasm of anything, that unprocessed emotion preventing you from being authentic, and you finally close that gap and you're moving at the speed of life as yourself, inside and outside, that is the liberation.
It is.
Like, it's the real liberation, and it's the lasting liberation, and it allows you to have the unbelievable conversations with the double PhD person who is sweeping your floors right next to you in your space, right? And learn from them the same that you would somebody with a title.
Yeah. Because can you imagine that? People don't want, and because he is smarter than probably everyone in the whole building. Maybe combined. It's just like, shame on you all. Not really, but I mean, you know, have a conversation. And he was literally sending money back to Africa for his family, and now he's double PhD. I communicated with him. We communicate, and I read his papers to this day. And I sent him home back to Africa with a glass frosted paperweight of the world, and said, the world is small. The world is small, and I want you to take this, my heart, you know? Just a little story.
I mean, just a tiny little story.
But you being light, that's just what I just want people to always feel better. When we did go to Africa for Habitat for Humanity, and we built this house for a woman whose adult children had died of AIDS, and she was raising her grandchildren, but she had some polio situations, and it was a dirt home that we were going to put water so that it would, a container for water, and they would have water for that house and a couple other houses. There was one lady there whose name was Lucy, and she did speak a little English. So I took my camera, much like yours, and I videotaped, and she would come to the job site every day. A year later, the man who's Habitat for Humanity in Kenya said, Sheri, I have Lucy here with me. And so he goes over to this video of this baby, Lucy and this baby. And Lucy's like, hello, Sheri. This is my daughter, Sheri. And she named her baby Sheri Atiambo is her last name. So there's a little, now probably 5-year-old little girl with my name running around. I want to go back. So, will you come with me?
1,000%.
Wouldn't that just be? Are you kidding? I know.
Hell yes, I know.
Just be. I was like, Lucy. That's the power of cameras and videos. And I'm like, Lucy, and she had this little chubby cheek baby. Yeah.
That whole world in your hands. The world is that small. The universe is that small.
The universe is that small. A connection, human connection. You never know. You don't know.
I used to encounter this every day in New York City with the cab drivers.
Yeah, tell me.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, they had PhDs in astrophysics.
Yeah.
They were former Mossad agents who were like ranking high up. Absolutely. Like, it goes back to exactly what you said. You never know who people are until you offer them space to open up and tell you.
Yeah.
And people will tell you.
Yes. Yeah.
And therein lies the magic of this world. And just weaves that web and that kinetic web of connection that that is imbued in everything and ties us in such a tight-knit, beautiful.
Yeah. And here you're thinking he's a cab driver, but really is a PhD astrophysicist, you know? And also, when people show you who they are, right, believe them, right?
In every way.
In every way. Every way. Just don't, and that is a very good lesson, too, that you have to just really see. If you're seeing it, believe it.
You have to have, because we all have encountered that in terms of in a hard situation, a difficult situation, or in a heartbreaking situation, or in a get smacked across the heart situation, in your line of work, but also just in your life. What sort of propelled you through the difficulty that you have faced in terms of people, in terms of maybe perhaps a job, something? Is there anything that really sort of pulled you like a tow rope through that?
Well, you have to know who you are. You have to trust in who you are. And if the situation isn't good, or something is knocked down in you that you feel, you have to take a moment. You've got to process. You cannot just react to that. So you just say, I need a minute. And you have to break from that, because it's like toothpaste. When you say things, sometimes it's like toothpaste. You can't put them back. You know, once it's out of the tube, you don't put it back. So when you have to think very carefully about what you're going to say, because words are cutting. Words, they go out in waves. They're immortal. They can change someone. And so you have to be very protective of what comes out of your mouth. So just take a break. Now, the very first homicide case that I worked, I had to go to the family's house, and I walked up to the front door. You know, there's that reporter, and I said, I'm here. I had my cameraman, and I got sworn at. The door got slammed in my face. I went back to my car, the station car, and I started crying. Like, what am I doing? I can't. This is not what I want to do for a living. I don't want to put people in pain. And I called work, and they're like, nope, sorry, you gotta come back with something. So I took a minute. And said, okay, Sheri, who are you? How would you want this handled? So I went back up to the door without my camera person, knocked on the door again. And I said, I know what happened here. I really think this is a domestic violence situation. And I think if we talk about domestic violence and what it is, I think we can work together on this. We get in they let me in. And their daughter, and the woman who was murdered, her daughter's name was Sheri. So she was 14.
Rolling chills, by the way.
Oh yes. And you know that we still talk today, because that man, Carla Shug's husband, was charged with murder. He went to prison. He got out. But they had to go in front of the parole board several times, and they would call me, he's in front of parole. And I'm like, well, you write your letters, you go. You write your letters, you go. Well, then eventually, he did get out. And then they saw him in the store. And it's a long story, but they would call me. We had a connection. I would empower them to stand in their brave. Stand in your brave, try to not have any connection, and nothing negative ever happened. But out of that, and that was 35 years ago. 35 years ago, I met this family. And I was just somewhere the other day, public, and a man brought that case up to me and said, I was the victim's brother, or I'm related to the family in some way, and thank you for what you did for the family. So it's connection. But I had to stand in my brave. I had to take a minute, pause. I had to realize who I was. So you always have to say, okay, can I rectify this? Is there a way that aligns with my true self? And then go forward.
No, yeah. This is, you literally just described that alignment with your true self. You literally just described an alignment of power. And that, like that power, you could see it visibly in you, like that power ignited of being present, being authentic, and being in your integrity to such a degree that you align all forces of the universe, which we all are.
Yes.
We are all that is as well.
Right.
And when we are unified in how we feel and what we're going to say and do, when that is all in unity, that is power.
It's power, and it comes from within. It doesn't, it's directed from the universe through you. I mean, but you have to be open to that. You would do. And you always, Polo, you have such a great way of taking things and just galvanizing them and explaining them in a way that you do. You really do. You do.
Thank you for saying that, but you just said you express that with such a degree, and you walk around in that space, which is the most empowering thing ever. Because you're right. The biggest myth perpetrated and purported by lots of industries, was it? Is the myth that power is external. And it's not.
No, it's not. That's fading. External power is fading quickly, fleeting. No, it's within. It truly is. It is. And everyone has it. And you can tap into it. But you have to spend time, and you have to do the work, and you have to spend time, quiet time. You do. You have to listen to podcasts like this. You have to listen. You have to read books, and you have to open yourself. And the more open you are, the more that comes in every time. And I've seen that with myself. And every decade, especially as women, we go through different decades, and the older you get, the more freeing I think you are. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Dear God.
Look out.
We're all going to be taking out the pants and putting on the shirt and running through the yard like little kids with that Winnie the Pooh pencilless.
Seriously. Isn't it awesome? I think now my mom, that's cool. She was cool. That was cool for us. Christine and I, just free to be you and me,
Yes.
Freedom.
And what you described in terms of allowing yourself to open up, making silence, first of all, quiet space, a safe space. That is one of the most difficult things for any of us who have incurred any trauma, any of us where silence wasn't a safe space, or we are sort of imprisoned by our past and our mind and our brain. But allowing that silence to be a safe space enough to realize that we just did an episode with Liz.
Yes. I saw the preview. Oh my gosh.
And his when he channels Red Eagle, one of the biggest tenets is your sensitivity is your strength. And you embody this, and we're just talking about the fact that our sensitivity to be able to open up and not only hear our guidance from the universe, from our higher selves, however you want to say it, God, force, energy, whatever. Right. But not only hear that, but then have the courage to heed that.
Yes. It's a totally different thing.
It's a totally different thing. And yet that is where you are just literally taking your AC adapter, as old as that is by the time you watch this podcast, and plugging yourself in to the pure creation, pure consciousness, all that is, the power that creates worlds. If you want to use a beautiful Abraham Hicks term.
Truly. It is. And think about that world and how beautiful that world would be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just embracing where your feet are. I love that. I love that.
I mean, be where your feet are. How simple is that? And how difficult is that at the same time?
It is.
Not always easy, always simple.
No. But it's things come around. I like little stories. I have so many of them. Just so many of them. I was recently. I always look at my list who haven't I helped? So Down syndrome and the parents that have children with Down syndrome. I thought, well, there was a walk at Michigan State, so I said, I'd like to help with that. So I contacted them. They said, oh my gosh, we'll be at Michigan State. We're going to be at the auditorium. Would you come? And I said, sure. It was Saturday morning. So I went over there, and it's raining. And I'm thinking, these poor people. We gotta go on this run. And this woman walks over to me, and you're gonna love this. She offers her umbrella. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And she goes, I know you don't remember me. People say that all the time. It's been 36 years. Sorry. Give it, girl. I know. Gee, you don't remember.
I love that game.
I know. It's a tough.
What's my name? You're like, I don't like that game. I don't remember my own name.
Me either. Hello. She said, okay. She said, I am a breast cancer survivor. And we were doing love. I got it right in my head. We were doing Love Lights a Tree at the Meridian Mall. And you were there for the Cancer Society. We were writing on these little ornaments, and we were hanging on the tree. And you came up to me and you said, would you go on camera and talk to me about your journey and what you've learned and how you can help other women? And she's like, oh gosh, I'm in this leather coat. I'm not dressed. And I'm like, oh, wear the leather. Come on, wear the leather. So she went on TV and she did it. Now, that was probably 20 years ago from the time that I hosted this walk. And she goes, I have never forgotten what you've said. Wear the leather. And she said, and I apply wear the leather to so many things in my life that I'm like, you know what? No, wear the leather. And I go, you know what? If I ever write a book, I'm going to call it Wear the Leather. I am. Because it's like, yeah, wear the leather. Put on the red shoes. Wear the ring. Just be bold, be beautiful, be brave, be yourself, be authentic. But she was so worried about how I was like, no, you look great. Wear the leather. Wear the leather. Wear the leather. I know that was a long story, but I just thought. Are you kidding? That's awesome. And here we are back in the same, like the universe did that. She wanted to thank me. She wanted to say that. And here I volunteered for an organization I'd never volunteered for. It's raining. She brings an umbrella over and she tells me this. I didn't know her name. I had no idea what her name was. I wouldn't have never in 1,000 years. Now I know her name. And now I think someday I'm going to write this book and that's going to be the title, to empower women to be authentic and bold and brave and aligned and open, all those things. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And like you, be worthy. Where's my water? Right here. Thank you.
From the worthy line of activated merch.
I love it. I love it.
This is the point of life. Is to be we came here to be the full expression of our true selves. Yeah. Our true selves, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. If that's in a leather coat, girl, wear it. I know. Wear it and wear it proudly. Yes. It doesn't mean anything unless you attach a meaning to it. It doesn't mean that you're better than anybody, that you're worse than anybody, that you're a PETA hater, whatever. It doesn't mean anything if you see it and use it and wear it as an expression of where you are in that moment, in that present moment.
In the present moment.
As your authentic self.
Yeah.
Wear the crap out of that leather coat, girl.
Right. Yeah. And she puts that coat on, symbolically.
Absolutely.
Symbolically, she said she puts it on. As a cancer survivor, as a mother of a child with Down syndrome, as a leader in this group, as on and on and on. Brave.
What is your leather coat that you don before?
Ooh.
What is your red underwear?
Oh, yeah. My Martha.
Thank you, Martha Mayhood-Mirth, for inspiring all of us to be found. What is your totem that you do before special events?
I do take a moment. I really do take a moment. I have lots of little angels. I definitely take a prayerful moment and ask for God's grace, ask for the words to be, to come through me. I ask to say whatever needs to be said, that I can say it, whatever. Because a lot of times when I host events, there is an agenda, there is this, the next thing and the next thing, but that what to say in between, or how to say, or what's the right thing to say, or how do you begin, or how do you end, or, and sometimes that just, I don't prepare for that necessarily. It just, I listen and it comes, but that's the grace. That's the grace. I ask for grace. I ask for just pray the Hail Mary and go out there and do it. I do. Yeah. And just ask for grace and just ask to say the right thing that might touch one person, you know? And it usually works. Yeah.
It usually always works.
You just spoke the other day and did great. You did great. Yes, you did. I heard people like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. They were agreeing with you, feeling your enthusiasm, your power, and so proud of you. And congratulations. She's using another Hall of Shame. She is.
Thank you for saying that. You know, it's interesting. Anytime we're in that situation, it is that grace that you ask for, because you can't. It's very difficult to prepare for emotion. First of all, it made me emotional. Yes. This is receiving a ridiculous distinguished alumni award from my high school.
Truly.
But it was such a full circle moment in the setting that I was in.
It was.
And we're talking about my sister, who our family lost when I was little. I mean, that full circle.
And the whole foundation was founded because of that, with education and her memory, and she's present all the time. Your sister.
It was surreal that it had been
how many years?
40 years since my sister died, so that her legacy could live.
I know.
And it was just one of those moments. It's going to make me emotional again. Even as closely connected as I am with my sister now, even more so.
Right.
Just having conversations with her, the veil is very thin.
Yes.
Just putting. You deal with this every day with the stories and the people with whom you speak and with whom you connect. There is emotion, such emotion imbued, usually at a snapshot of a moment in time.
For sure.
And it is a gift. It's a gift to be able to share that with a room full of people or one person.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
But you did it. You did it.
Thank you for saying that. I thought I did horribly.
I really know. And people didn't know. I mean, for you to say to them, the reason that we're here and we have this foundation is because of this, out of this tragic thing. But yet the lives that have been touched and changed through that is just incredible. Around your mom's kitchen table, this was born. In 40 years, just like that. You know, and if you see something, just start. Just start it. And now look where it is. It's amazing. Beautiful.
You and your servant hearts, your big old delicious servant hearts. Oh, love you, Julie.
Love you. Thank you
for wanting to do this. We always end each episode with a heart seat round of questions. It is a hot seat round of questions.
Okay.
From your heart.
Okay.
So the first thing that bubbles up, just go for it. Whatever it means to you. So the integrity with which you've navigated your career is impeccable. And it is so inspiring to me. So from your perspective, question number one. Yeah. What is your core code? What is your top 3 personal values, if you could name them? Most important things to you.
I would say, oh my gosh, love. I would say gratitude. I would say loyalty. Yeah, loyalty.
That is a code that anybody, those terms, anybody would attach to you the moment they meet you. They're palpable and they live within you.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it took me a minute, but I definitely, and I always operate from a place of gratitude. I'm envy and jealous and wanting is not, I just don't have that. I just don't have that in me. I operate from grateful gratitude. I do. And so, but the loyalty is, 36 years with the same company, I think, and 35 years with the same husband.
You know, Rocco? Takes a special skill.
Yeah, it does. So there, loyalty.
Oh my God. So, what daily routines do you have that are non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable. Espresso.
Yes, baby.
Yes. Devotion, meditation, quiet time. I'm going to whip those things all in there together. Yes, major, and exercise in nature, outside. Those 3. Even though I have a Peloton, I use it if the weather's bad, but I'm always out. I have to walk outside every day. But definitely in that I would say in that order.
Espresso first.
Oh yeah,
Always.
always.
You are a girl after my own heart.
2, 3, 4 shots.
Hell yes. Which brings us at the walking around in nature, exercising in nature, brings us to our third question.
Okay.
What brings you back to center? When you feel off kilter, when you feel out of balance, what brings you back to center?
Definitely. I am a water baby. I am a Gemini. I have shells galore. I mean, it's like boxes and boxes of shells. I have rocks. I collect rocks. I am definitely a nature. I know that's where I need to be grounded. So if I have to spend some time at night, when I get done with the news, which sometimes 12, I walk out 12:30 at night. I immediately look at the stars. I immediately realize that, really we are just a grain of sand in this whole universe in which we live. So really, if I had a show didn't go as what I like or situation happened, I just walk outside. Oh well. And then clear. So it's a cleansing. But for me, I have to be, it's nature. It's sunrises, sunsets, stars, rocks, sand, water, those things. Yeah. Yeah.
It baptizes you anew.
Yes. Every time.
What do you consider your purpose, your mission for being here?
I would just say to be exactly what my 3 words are. To be a light. To be a light for other people. To be a light for my children. To be a light to my community. To be a light to my friends. To be a light. Just to be a light. And to be a safe place for people to come if they want to talk or share. Really, that's it. That's it. It's very simple. It's simple.
Simple and yet the most profound. I mean,
Well, thank you.
be the true essence of who you are and what the raw material of what creates us, right?
Right.
What is something very few people, if anyone, know about you that you'd like to share? That underwear. Anyway.
I know. Oh my goodness. I really do. I am a daredevil. I am a daredevil. I love to I was going to rappel off the Boji Tower on tomorrow, but the time that I did it, Siobhan is off. So they just called me and said, "Hey, do you want to rappel up the Boji Tower?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Sorry.
Yes. I know. I did rappel off a bridge with a dog, a canine. So I really am adventuresome. Yep.
We are going zip lining.
Yes.
We are doing all of that together.
Zip lined. I love it. Yes. I have cave dived in Mexico. I've actually held my breath and swam in this little tunnel and come up in a cave that we had bats and albino fish in it. I mean,
I lived to tell.
I did. Oh yeah. So I am a junkie. I like to drive fast.
I'm telling. Anyway.
But I also can find sand dollars with my toes in the ocean. Can you do that?
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm going to need proof. Okay. And it's going to have to be tropical, and it's going to have to be immediate.
Yes. So I teach all my girlfriends if they're brave enough to go in the ocean. Some of them aren't brave enough to go in the ocean. Like, nothing's going to happen. So anyway, we go out there, and I just do my toes in them. Yeah. So that's one thing I always say. That's pretty tame. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it? They're finding dollars with their feet.
Yeah.
Sand dollars, but whatever.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
All right.
Before we leave our beautiful audience.
Okay.
And that is, what role does worthiness play in success to you, in your opinion?
Well, I think that I believe what you say, that we're all born worthy. And if people don't feel like they are, they don't have the means or the talents or the look, but you are. You are born that way. And so whatever that means to you or whatever you see success as, which is going to be different for every person. But I think just success and worthiness is just being comfortable with who you are. It's just be comfortable. Be comfortable. Understand that this is how you're made. And that goes back to being, the only person you want to be better than is who you were yesterday. It's that simple. But the world is not built that way. The world is built with competition and beauty and all these things that are external, like we talked about earlier, that are fading. You know, you store up the treasure where your heart is. Store up the treasure there. That's your treasure. It's not in all these things and goods. They fade away. They break down. Store your treasure where your heart is, and that's where you're worthy. So, yeah.
Sheri Jones! You light bearer, thank you for wanting to do this.
Oh my gosh.
I love you dearly.
I love you more.
It's so possible. It really is.
It really is. Thank you. It's so fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you. Love you.